Hi, everyone. This is your host, Kristen Howe, and I am so excited to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Lori Spagna. Lori radically transformed her life after a series of near-death experiences while living in Maui. She has over 20 years of experience serving humans and animals around the world, offering seminars and workshops about how we can improve our lives by learning from animals. She is an internationally recognized expert, speaker, and author, and she is featured in a documentary, Animals in the Afterlife. As a visionary, lightworker, intuitive, animal communicator, and healer, Lori also leads powerful manifestation and healing circles where she helps people and their pets tap into their true power via the universal source, which connects us all and activates dormant DNA and RNA in humans and animals. And on today's call, this is fascinating. You will discover your dormant DNA and why it holds the keys for you now and in the future. You'll find out the truth about ascension, what it is, and what it really means for you. You'll discover how to change reality and create a new paradigm. You'll find out ways to jump timelines and navigate through the speeding up of time. And you'll discover how our bodies are changing and what these dormant DNA strands actually do to support you, your dreams, and your life's purpose. So, Lori, I can't wait. I'm so excited for this call. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome.
Hi, Kristen. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here as well. Thank you for allowing me to show up and be here.
Absolutely. I just love you. I love your energy, and I love everything you're about. What I'd love to do is have you share a little bit of your story. Take a couple of minutes, share with us some of the major turning points that you've experienced in your life that have allowed you to manifest your current level of success and where you are today.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks. Well, what happened with me was really my whole story is I spent 20 years in corporate America. And I was just way off path. It was not really what I was meant to be doing here. And during those 20 years, Kristen, I ended up gaining 65 pounds in excess body weight. I started smoking. I got to a point where I was smoking 2 or more packs of cigarettes a day. I was drinking 8 beers a day, something like that. Ooh. I was loaded up on pharmaceutical drugs that the doctors were using to try to, assist me. I had effectively become like a human guinea pig. And I was a wreck. I was drinking 2 or more pots of coffee a day. I couldn't get to sleep at night. I couldn't wake up in the morning. I was late for work every day. And I was miserable. And on top of all that, my whole body obviously was just really shut down because I was not eating the right foods and I was not getting time to exercise or do any of those things that we need to do to take care of ourselves. And then what really happened was during those 20 years, I knew I was not in the right place. However, I really felt enslaved to the system. Like I did not know how to get out. I had $150,000 in debt over those 20 years, and I just didn't know how to get out. And so every night at the end of my day as a slave, that's how I lovingly, laughingly refer to myself as a good slave, I would sort of cry at my desk and I'd be like, what am I going to do to be of service to animals on a global scale? That's what I came here for. How do I be of service to animals on a global scale? And that became my mantra. And then I also had 2 other mantras that would sort of dovetail with that. Was like I wanted God to be my boss. And I kept asking, how do I make God my boss? And then the other thing was just on my personal spiritual quest was to know the truth of everything, no matter what. I kept asking for that. And well, eventually what happened was my brother died of an unexpected drug overdose. And I realize now, we could have a whole call just about this probably, but he really didn't fully cross over. And so he needed assistance to cross over, and he became like an angel in my ear. He really was the one waking me up, and I kept hearing his voice, as if it was as loud as you and I are speaking right now. I could hear him. I could hear all of his inflections, and I could see things, and he was really saying, you're next. You're next if you don't change this now. And so that's what I did. I took a leap. I really took a really big leap, and I quit my job. I became a dog trainer. I actually thought that when I was asking to be of service to animals on a global scale, I just thought I was going to be a great dog trainer. That was it. I didn't understand that eventually meant I was going to become what I now refer to as a lightworker. And so in the process of becoming that dog trainer, I started to get happy and I started to get healthy. And then eventually I really got connected to my spiritual connection, my brother. And my ex-husband at that point said, see ya, I'm out of here. I'm not into this. So I went to Maui for 2 years. And within those 2 years, and I was only the dog trainer for, working as a dog trainer for less than a year, but within the 2 years in Maui, everything was gone. The drug, the artificial drugs, the pharmaceutical drugs, the smoking, all the nicotine, all of the alcohol, all of the debt, the financial debt, it was all gone. The coffee, and caffeine, the artificial ways to pump myself up or get myself to sleep, like all of that was gone in 2 years. And it's because I got on purpose. I got on track. I got aligned with what I was here to do and what the divine mission for me was. And everything up to that was just part of the story to get me to where I am now. So that's kind of where that transformation happened. And during those 2 years in Maui, that in and of itself is a story. But everything that I teach now and everything we're going to discuss now came out of that period of time in Maui.
Perfect. Okay. Amazing story, by the way. And I just absolutely love the transformation you experienced. Talk to me about this, because I'm sure as I was doing the intro and was talking about, dormant DNA and RNA, people were going, huh? And this is an amazing group of people listening, but this is, probably stuff they've not heard about before. So can you talk about what dormant DNA is and, explain just a little bit more also what RNA is?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is we know right now, scientifically, 100%, that we have, at least that we know of, 12 strands of DNA. No scientist would disagree with that. And that 2 of them are active. 2 of them are the protein building DNA strands that basically regulate who we are, and they store up all of our genetics, everything about who we are. And the other 10 strands, up until 2012, scientists thought they were just junk. They just thought they were junk, not used. And then Russian scientists have been doing research, and what they determined and published is that those other 10 strands are not junk, that they're just dormant. And what they determined was that they could be awakened somehow, activated through certain things. Number 1, energy. Number 2, light, which is a form of energy. And number 3, sound, vibration. So that these dormant DNA could be activated. And they published this, and it's now scientifically documented. Now, interestingly, on a side note, what also happened was a lot of studies that were being done on the DNA, what scientists started to realize was that much of this dormant DNA had potential for healing. So, for example, one study, or this wasn't even really a study, this is a documented case where there was a baby born with AIDS, and he was tested, and they knew he had AIDS, and 6 months later he was tested again, and he had AIDS. And then at 6 years, they retested him, and his body actually healed itself of the AIDS virus. And that this case actually made its way to UCLA, and that they are now attributing it to something in the DNA. So what we know here is that this dormant DNA holds potential and that it can be activated. That's what science knows, without question. So I hope I answered that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I appreciate you taking the time to explain it, because it's one of those things that, people need to wrap their heads around it a little bit just so that they can really get where we're going with this call. So that's absolutely perfect. Okay. So talk to me about the evolutionary shift of consciousness. What's going on?
Okay. So with the shift of consciousness, we are all waking up to the truth of who we are, our true potential. And that potential lies in the dormant DNA. So here's what we know. In order to activate this dormant DNA, and we don't know all of the potential that's in there, but we certainly know some of it. So in order to activate the dormant DNA, the very first thing that needs to be activated within us is a gene known as a compassion gene. There is a gene for compassion, and that needs to get activated before any of the other dormant DNA can be activated. And this process of ascension, the shift of consciousness, is really geared toward awakening us to be more compassionate human beings, more caring, because everything that's gone wrong in society up until this point, based on our creative potential, that we've been creator beings up until now without really understanding what we were creating, was done without any real care or compassion. So once the compassion gene gets ignited, activated, then all this other dormant DNA can get activated. that's where we start to discover the truth of who we are. This is the process of ascension. This is the process of awakening. So this process of ascension is where we literally shed, release, clear, heal, resolve all of the conflicts, the traumas, the dramas, the pain, the struggle, all of this low vibration, dense, heavy energy, fears, worries, doubts, anxieties, frustrations, sadness, grief, all those things. We release them. We learn to see the gifts in them. We heal them. We resolve them. And then as we do that, we are literally healing ourselves, healing our world, and activating this dormant potential within us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so in terms of learning how to activate DNA and RNA and all of that stuff, what's the best way for us to start to jump into this?
Okay. Well, the first thing is it's the number one, it's the recognition that you can do it, right? We can do it. And obviously it's not just about imagining it and making it so. It's a lot more than that. We're working with real energy from, you might call it the quantum field, or you might call it the divine, right? God, source, creator, whatever word you have to connect with that. But we're tapping into this field of energy, and we're allowing this field of energy to assist us with that. So that's part of activating this DNA, but it's really about recognizing that all of the aspects of who we were in the past, we're ready to let them go. And it's not just about saying, okay, I let it go. It's literally, there's some work involved in it. So we're not just being airy-fairy about this. We're using real energy, even if we can't actually see this energy. We can experience it firsthand through feeling and through working with it. Make sense?
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Exactly where I was going.
So if we look at this dormant potential right now in our reality, we sort of have all these collective agreements, like you're a woman, I'm a man, you're tall, I'm skinny, you're an engineer, I'm an author, or, you're a dog, or we label everything. And we have these collective agreements that that's what everything is. This is the color blue, that's the color purple, this is, whatever, I can go on. But what we're really talking about here is moving beyond the collective agreements of society. We're moving beyond what we have, everything we've ever believed that limited us. In other words, to say that a dog is a dog, and that's all the dog is, and just everything we know a dog to be, is actually way too limiting for the dog now. And this is true about everything in our reality. We are moving beyond all limitation. Now, it's really challenging for us to imagine that potential because, well, right now I'm just talking about a dog. It means kind of nothing. Okay, well, a dog can be a healer. A dog has incredible insight about who we are and is a teacher to us. And that stuff we can wrap our brains around now. But other potentials, like I hear this from people all the time. Could I really be psychic? Could I really be intuitive? Could I really be a healer? Could I really live the dream that I've always had, or to be on television, or to lead workshops and seminars with thousands of people, or whatever anyone's dream is, to have the rescue and rehabilitation center, or whatever our dreams are that we never thought were possible for us. That's actually part of the potential. It's waking up to realize that all the limitations in the past are lifted, like limitations of people telling us who we are, we can't heal ourselves, that something like, some disease that's terminal is not terminal, that you can heal yourself from diseases, that you don't have to age, that you might not even have to die in some future paradigm or some kind of parallel reality, and that you could actually step into that reality, that you don't actually need planes to get across the country or to get across the planet. So these are the kinds of things, the myth busting we're doing, and all of that information is in the dormant DNA, that and more.
Wow. Okay. So this really, once we learn how to activate it, and please correct me if I am misusing terms here, but once we learn how to activate it, we truly are figuring out how to move beyond limits. I mean, that really is, okay.
Yes,
awesome.
Exactly. And not only move beyond limits. See, what we're moving into now, Kristen, is we've just started the new Mayan calendar. By the way, everybody thought the Mayan calendar was over. It's not. They started a new one. It's just that we didn't know what was in there because they didn't know. But this new reality that we're in now is all about problem solving. So now we're looking at everything of our reality that we've created. And the next shift is going to be, okay, how do we solve these problems? But now we're going to solve them with this new potential and with these limitless possibilities. So it's almost like, okay, the new question is always going to be like, it's all going to be about questions. Okay, well, what's possible here, and what can we create here, and how can we solve this, and what might fix this, what might fix that, or that's what we're shifting into now with this shift of consciousness.
Wow. Okay. So what are actually, I'm going to ask you because I could guess, but what are some of, when you bring this up with people, because it is so optimistic, so I feel that part of me that's like, oh my God, this is amazing. What are some of the main sort of, buts that you hear from people? Because I'd love to hear you kind of answer those.
Well, the biggest ones I hear is always related to people seeing themselves as smaller than they are. So in other words, the biggest ones are, well, you think I could really do that? Or you mean you really think I could heal myself of this muscular dystrophy? Or you really think I can heal myself of XYZ disease? You really think that's possible for me? Or you really think I could, be a psychic and make a living that way? You really think I could make a living as an animal communicator? People who have these great dreams in them, these dreams are seeded in them. They're there for a reason. They're not like, see, we've been thinking of it like, I have a dream and is it possible for me? But it's really more like, yeah, there's a dream in you that you're meant to rise to. It's meant to be birthed by you. So that's the biggest thing, is more like people seeing themselves in their smallness and not believing things that are possible for them that they're actually meant to do in this life.
Right.
They're meant to resolve or heal or live or experience. And so they step into the smallness of them. But when we start to activate the dormant DNA, you see all those things like the doubts and the disbeliefs and the fears, they're gone. They're gone. They go. They're just gone. The insecurities, the I'm less than, I'm not good enough, no, not me, it couldn't happen for me, all that stuff is gone. And that's just the beginning. That's just the start of it. Because other things that are, especially for your audience who really is so awake and aware about so much of this, so tapped into it, obviously we become healers. We're all becoming healers. We're all becoming intuitive. We're all tapping into like awarenesses that we just didn't know we had before. We're tuning in on things. That stuff also is some of the beginning of it. It's what lies underneath that we're still discovering.
I love that. And it is. It's hopeful and exciting, right? Who doesn't love discovery? Okay, so how do we begin to change our reality? How do we start to shift the paradigm? Okay,
well, the first thing is really about making a choice, because the number one thing to really understand is, I think I've said this to you before in one of our earlier discussions, there are two laws of the universe, and these laws, there's lots of laws of the universe, but there are two primary laws, and we must realize them in our own lives before we can activate anything or tap into this. The first is the law of free will, and it's a universal law. Like, not even God itself will override it. So your free will has to be in agreement. That's the first thing. You have to make a free will choice that says, I truly want to start activating this. I truly choose to start activating my divine potential. I truly choose to get in alignment with this divinity in me. That's the first step. You have to choose it. The second part is the recognition of the second main universal law, which is to do no harm. And why this is so important here is that you really can't activate the dormant within you until you understand the dormant DNA within you, not really until you understand this potential is so great that you just simply have to decide you're not ever going to do any harm to yourself or anyone else. Thus, the compassion gene, because that compassion gene is an inborn safety device. If you don't have compassion, you can't activate the rest of them because there's so much incredible power and potential. So it's the recognition you will never knowingly do any harm to yourself or anyone else. And so those are the first two steps. That's what you asked me. What's the first thing we need to do? The first thing we need to do is get clear that it is your free will and that you really do solemnly decide that you will never again, you will never again, even if in whatever mistakes you might have made in the past where you did harm someone or something, the world, the environment, unconsciously, that from this point forward, you choose not to. You choose to be in alignment. And then there is a higher law of this, which is the law of love. The law of love is all there is. It overrides all the other laws because love is all there is. So you choose to be in alignment with love. And everything you will do will be in alignment with love. Now, once you make that choice, unbelievable. Your potential starts to get activated. Even if you're not actively activating the DNA, which you definitely want to do that at this time. But even if you're not actively doing it, you'll be led to people who will assist you to activate it, or you'll be led to environments where you'll be able to activate it. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Well, and even in, it's interesting, just as you said that, there was a listing, the love really is all there is, and that alone, like that, I could feel there was such truth in that. Yeah. Not in a conceptual, in my head way. I felt it literally in my body resonate. Okay, so let's now talk about something else, which is an interesting topic, and I know it all ties in, but the word ascension, I think so many people have such different views of what that is. So can you explain what the truth about ascension is and what this means for all of us?
Yeah. So the truth about ascension is this. It does not mean we lose our physical bodies. It does not mean the earth is going to go away. It doesn't mean any of that. The truth about ascension, if we look at just the definition of ascension, and I'm not quoting the dictionary, but it basically means to go up, right? So to rise up. So what that means is really ascension just means our own enlightenment, our own awakening. And the way we enlighten, we awaken, is to get in alignment with this law of love, to get ourselves in alignment with love, so that all we are is love. We become love. We are the embodiment of love, and we exhibit love in all of our endeavors. And the way you do that is by releasing and clearing away all of the egoic thoughts, beliefs, ideas, concepts, points of view, perspectives, energies that are not in alignment with love. So what is that? That means all those things we were talking about: fears, worries, doubts, anxieties, traumas, pain, sadnesses, grief, all that hatred, all that stuff. We release it because we recognize that in the law of love, love is all there is. Now, does that mean you go out and you get beaten up by people because you're just going to be loved? No. Does that mean you allow people to, take advantage of you or step on you or, say mean, cruel things because they're not yet in alignment? No. But it means that you start to practice and behave as love would in all of your endeavors. And you choose to be love, even if sometimes being love means saying no to something else in favor of your own self. Or if it means allowing something else that previously you might not have allowed in.
Wow. You just said something that's so powerful that I want to say it again, which is you want to be as love would in that scenario. I think that's so powerful because you're not saying when you come from love, everybody's going to be loving back. And you're not saying things aren't still going to happen that aren't ideal. But you're saying that you're always carrying with you this essence of love. Am I sort of getting this correctly?
Yeah, you're allowing your intention is to get in alignment with love, the law of love, which is God, source, creator, God the divine. And so you recognize not everybody's intention is that on planet Earth right now.
Right.
We're all waking up. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You're going to run into a lot of stuff that's not necessarily there along the way. But what we come to find is that the more in alignment with love you are, really, that is the solution, because it's a solution to everything, because now everything's in alignment. Once you move through certain so-called obstacles or challenges along the way, even from other people, and you just love them and release them, recognizing, okay, they're not there yet or they're not at it. I send them love. I release them. This isn't what I choose to have in my experience. I'm not going to give it all kinds of energy. I'm just going to love them and release them and get back into my alignment with love, being love, behaving as love. Then you won't continue to attract that stuff, because we know law of attraction. You really only are going to attract what's on your vibrational energy level. So if you're vibrating love, kindness, forgiveness, compassion, that's more and more of what you're going to attract. And the other stuff just comes up as opportunities for you to grow past it, evolve past it, forgive past it and through it, learn and release kind of thing.
I love that. It's an opportunity for growth. Okay, so let me ask you this. We wake up in the morning and we're like, okay, Lori said align with love. Absolutely. Is there something we can do literally to start our days with that already happening? And so what's one thing that we could do?
Yeah, well, one of the first things you can do, I mean, I do this almost every morning. I wake up in the morning, and one of the first thoughts I have is, how can I be more loving to myself and others today? I mean, just the first question you ask yourself in the morning, or how can I make this a wonderful day? What's possible to make this day even more magnificent than I even might think it's going to be? How can I share love and receive love today? Like, customize your thoughts, your first thought in the morning, to be something that's pleasing for you and makes a contribution to your life and to the world. That's one of the first things you can do.
That's fantastic. So everyone really pay attention to that, because it's so simple. It's not taking tons of time. You can literally do it before your eyes even open. And and what an amazing way to align yourself. Now, here's the next question. We do this and we're like, oh, we feel really good and we feel really connected. And then something happens in the middle of the day, as it will. And the reason I bring this up is because I know, everybody listening, this is such a fantastic group of people, and they're all so open to all of this, but then they all tend to also beat themselves up a little bit. So, so what's something when we catch that, we just went to not love, we just dropped out of love. How can we get ourselves back in without not loving ourselves in the process? Does that make sense? Because we judge ourselves. That's also not in love.
It does. I go through it too. I mean, I'm not like walking around being love all the time. I get my triggers and my healthy dose of triggers where I need to look at what's going on that triggered that, So when that stuff happens, one of the best things I think to do, and there's so many tools and techniques and methods, but really the first thing I always go to is, number one, what is the gift in this? What is the gift in this experience? What is the lesson in this that I'm meant to receive? And then if you can receive the lesson and sort of bless it, even if it's to forgive, even if it's to release it, but go to the question of, what is the gift in this? What am I meant to receive from this experience, this interaction, whatever it is, so that I can get the very best out of it and so that I can release it in love? Just by asking that question to the universe, to yourself, to your connection with the divine, actually shifts it, because our normal reaction is to start going into, that SOB or, anger, resentment, or judgment, blaming, the blame and shame game, or the victimization game. Oh, poor me. That stuff doesn't work in the new reality. That's not in alignment with love. That's not in alignment with oneness. That's in alignment with separation. Someone else out there did something to me, or some other situation out there is responsible for my reality. So, to come full circle back to your question, is that if you can go to the question of, what's the gift in this, that's going to be the fastest way to resolve it. And then you have to practice getting quiet and listen. You have to practice being ready to receive the gift, to understand it.
It's such a great thing, because I think we all have that. Well, we don't all have that, but the people listening to these calls, there is an awareness. There is a willingness to be aware. So it's then just a matter of, so what do I do when I become aware of it? And that's the perfect thing. So what is the gift in this? I think that's fantastic.
Is when you realize the law of free will, and that source, creator, God, the divine, is love, and all the things that we assign, like compassion and kindness. If something comes up that's just too overwhelming, and this happens, where you're just like, this is too much, I can't even handle it, and that's happening on this planet a lot. There are two things also you can do besides saying, what's the gift in it? One is that you can state your free will and say, this is just simply not in alignment with my free will to go through this or to experience it. I'm making my statement clear here now. This is not in alignment with my free will. That is not resistance. Notice I didn't say it with a huge amount of resistance. I didn't fight it. There's no resistance. It's simply a declaration of the knowing of your free will. So you can actually say that, and the universe will come in. I'll give you an example in a moment. The second thing you can do also is you can literally get humble, which we're meant to learn humility. I mean, humility sometimes is a little bit for the birds, but at the same time, so to speak, there's so much value in humility. So if you get humble and you just say, your prayer, your solemn prayer, source, creator, God, this is more than I can handle. Please lessen my load. Please lift this somehow, some way. Bring some healing here. That really works. It really does. Now, I want to give you an example because I know I mentioned to you before we started the interview that I had gone to the dentist this week, and I thought the dentist said, you're either going to need that tooth pulled or you're going to need a root canal. I was like, as soon as I walked out of there, because he wanted to do it like right there, I was like, no, it was a Friday. If I need it, I'll come back on Monday. So I immediately, when I got out of there, I just did a solemn prayer, and I said, this is not in line with my free will to lose my roots or my tooth. Simply not in alignment. Now, from this point forward, show me how I can heal it. How can I resolve this? What do I need to do? And what can you do for me? And literally by Monday when I went to the dentist, there were a lot of things I did in that weekend to heal it. I didn't just leave it, but I did not need that root canal. This is just one example, but I've used this in so many areas in my life and with my clients.
Yeah, and actually, I was so hoping that you were going to bring that up. I almost brought it up before, but I'm so glad you brought up the root canal, because when you told me that right before we started, I was like, wow, that's amazing, and what we're all capable of. So that's why I love what you're sharing this stuff with us today. Okay, so talk to me about this, because I know animals, you and I are so in alignment on this one. I just think they are magnificent beings. Are animals also functioning as light workers right now?
Yes. So very few people, even most of the animal communicators. I teach people how to be animal communicators, how to communicate telepathically with animals. And I listen to a lot of other animal communicators, and it seems like not everybody realizes this. Well, animals actually have a divine mission on this planet, a divine purpose. And they have an agenda. And their agenda on planet Earth right now is, number one, to assist humans in their awakening. Number one. Through their role as healers and or teachers and or companions. That's their number one role. Number two, they are also ascending. So they're realizing their free will, their choice, and their ability to choose something else. So they're waking up now and saying, we no longer want to be treated so inhumanely on, its slaughterhouses, or we don't want to be tested on when there's all this other possibility. So they're assisting us in waking up through that too. And they're waking up to those possibilities for themselves and how they want to be treated. But they are light workers. Their number one role on planet Earth as a non-human animal being, all collectively, the animals are assisting the human animals in the waking up.
I love that. Okay, so It's such a cool thing, especially then it's almost like you become aware of, I was just thinking, as I walk around my neighborhood, there are dogs everywhere. So it's almost like you can just sort of look at them and feel supported in the fact that, because sometimes I think people feel like, wow, I'm the only one here trying to vibrate love right now. So it's almost like we can feel supported.
Yeah. Well, animals, actually, that's part of what they do. In the moments when we're not feeling so much love, what do? They come in and they give us love.
Yep.
In the moments where we're feeling really stressed out, they energetically take that stress away. They heal us. They are lifting a lot of that heavy vibration, dense energy from our bodies and our beings, from the energy field of who we are. They take it on and they heal us. Absolutely, without question. And that doesn't matter, if it's even a bird that just flies into your window and you're having a hard day and suddenly there's a hummingbird, and hummingbird's message is always a message of joy, be joyful.
Yep.
And you see that and suddenly you're like, oh my God, there's a hummingbird, and your whole energy has just shifted. That's
so
part
true.
of how they do that.
I love that. And it's almost like we can even, as we're trying to vibrate more in that way, we can even think about that, being more of that presence in people's lives, because there's something to that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure. Because here's the thing, even my worst and most challenging days, I try to be, I have a friend who calls me she calls herself a joy spreader. And she recently said, I'm dubbing you the honorary joy spreader. And anyway, so like even on my challenging days, I might go into like the grocery store and I will try to drop nuggets of joy or love or wisdom or something, just in a way that's just not, not forcing it, but just more like, I'll maybe put down the $20 bill at the cash register and just be like, come back to me this week times 10. I love you. Thank you. Something like that.
Nice.
And the person at the cash register is like, wow, that's pretty cool. So that's kind of like a similar example of what you were just saying of the hummingbird. Just being a joy spreader. We can do that. We can choose to go out in the world and share that. And it's amazing because that energy, what you send out, comes back to you with equal or greater force. So you spread some nugget of joy, even if in one moment all it is a smile or a sincere compliment, and you will see your own energy shift around that, right?
Yeah.
That's what animals are doing. That's what we're capable of doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even on the subtle days where we don't feel empowered, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome way to realize our true power. As you said, that's what we're capable of doing. Okay, so earlier you said something that I want to come back to because I think it's really, really pertinent. It's that whole speeding up of time thing. So what's going on? Because you can't go anywhere without someone mentioning it. Like, wow, doesn't it seem like time is going faster than it? So what's happening?
Yeah. Well, okay, there's a number of things happening. Number one, from a level of consciousness that we're all waking up, we're recognizing that our brains are changing as we activate our dormant DNA. By the way, our bodies are changing. We're becoming light bodies, right? We still get to keep our carbon-based bodies,
right?
But they transform into a light body. But as that happens, our brains are changing, and the way we categorize information is changing. And so with respect to time, we're categorizing time differently. We're actually recognizing, waking up to realize that all there is now. That time was a human-made experience. So clocks and watches and calendars, that was how we sorted and categorized time. But now that we're less compartmentalized, we're more in oneness, we're moving and shifting more into an ever-present now. So that's changing our experience with respect to time. That's one part of it.
Okay.
The other part of it, as if that wasn't enough.
Right.
The other part of it is that actually the planet Earth is moving. And not just the way it's always moved. I mean, it's always been turning, but we're shifting into our place in the galaxy is shifting. So the Earth has been moving to another area in the galaxy. We're being united with other galaxies and other planets that we never knew about before. And as the Earth moves, that's shifting how frequently the sun comes up and sets, and the rising and the moon, and so it's literally speeding up. What used to be 24 hours in a day is not anymore. We literally don't have the same amount of time, but we're treating it as if we do, which is crazy.
Right.
So that's actually happening on a physical level.
Okay, so what is something that we can do to help us navigate this?
Okay. Well, one of the biggest thing, and I definitely got this when I was in Maui, part of the speeding up of time is designed to assist us. So if you can get this from the beginning, this is a really important thing. As we experience time speeding up, the most important thing we can do is let go of everything that we no longer need. So let's shift this out of what we were talking about before with respect to emotions, pains, sorrows, dramas, traumas, all that kind of stuff. It's more like all the things we've been doing as humans doing. If you're not enjoying it, if it's not really important, if it doesn't really matter, don't do it. You don't have enough time. You simply don't have enough time. There's things you're not supposed to be doing. I don't know if that's the right way to phrase that, supposed to be, because you're allowed to do anything you want, but you're meant to let go of doing things that don't bring you joy, that you don't enjoy. And so the speeding up of time, so to speak, the experience of that is meant to facilitate that letting go of doing the things that you don't enjoy. That's part of it. So one of the first things people can do is just literally make a list of all the things they do that they really don't have to do, that they really don't like, and get rid of them. Like you really don't have to spend 4 hours balancing your checkbook every month, kind of thing. I'm giving an example. So each person has to decide what's right for them. But that's part of the speeding up of time and how to navigate through it. It's letting go of the things that don't bring you joy, that really aren't necessary. Now, I'm not telling you to stop brushing and flossing your teeth or some of the things you do need to do. I'm saying there are some things we all waste our time doing that we don't really want to do, and we'd let go of them if we could. All right, so that's one of the things. And the other thing is we're, from a more spiritual perspective, we're meant to start using the power of the universe to assist us. And I remember one of our last interviews, Kristen, where we were talking about manifestation. That is a huge part of the new reality. So we need to let the universe do a lot more of the work for us that we used to do ourselves, so that actually things can become easier. When we turn over the desire and the intention of things we want to accomplish to the forces of the universe, so to speak, the energy of creation, things that we used to need to spend months and months doing can now be done so much more effortlessly. So that's part of this navigating through time as well. Does that make sense?
It does, and it actually explains. I love that you just said that, because I've actually even noticed that in my life, where I'm like, normally this would take long, but then there have been times where it kind of freaks me out, because I'm like, well, then maybe I didn't do it fully, or you know what I mean? So we can stop second guessing ourselves. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes, because we think we need to do more, but we really don't. We don't need to do as much. It's more about starting from the end and go, okay, here's the end goal in mind. This is what I choose to experience or have or create. And in the old paradigm, you might have had to do like 10 things, a lot of struggle and strain to get there. In the new paradigm, you cooperate with the divine. You go into a state of sort of meditation, connecting with the divine, connecting with this beautiful energy, creating it through a manifestation process, and then allowing it to actualize in the physical reality with a lot more ease and grace, allowing the universe to do a lot more of the work for you. Then it doesn't take as much time. You can have what you want a lot easier. Yeah.
That's fantastic. We can all stop pushing. Okay, that's cool. All right, so what's time jumping?
Oh, okay. Beautiful.
That all sounds very sci-fi, but...
Oh, my God. This is one of the best things ever. Okay, I've been doing this with a lot of my clients. They're having amazing results. Like in fact, a couple of weeks ago, I had a few clients, like in a row, who called me with animal companions who were literally sort of like, deathbed type of thing. And it had happened to me right before, which is how I really learned it with my dog, where I was literally calling for home euthanasia services. And then a good lightworker friend of mine got on the phone with me, and she was like, okay, let's do some time jumping. So time jumping is based on the recognition that there are infinite number of realities, and they're all happening right now. And in one reality, something let's just, for example, in this current reality, something is happening that you're not liking. For example, an animal looks like they might be suffering, or you have some kind of root canal that you might need, or some other pain or trauma, something's going on. That's happening in this dimension of reality. So time jumping is the recognition that you exist in a parallel reality with almost all the same things. However, that particular situation, it's different. So your dog is healed, or your tooth is healed. Now, how do you jump into that reality is the question. But once you get to the recognition that that is possible, that's the first step. You have to realize, in another dimension of reality that I can connect with, this dog is healed, this tooth is healed, this disease is healed, this whatever it is. So that's the first step. And the second step, I don't know that we can go through that whole process because it's like a whole call, but it's part of what I teach about in the manifestation and healing circles. But it's literally about learning how to energetically align with this new dimension of reality and allowing yourself to step into it and experience that as your reality. And it's very real. This sounds like sci-fi, just like you said, but it's so easy once you learn how. Just take more than 10 minutes to explain it.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say we can't, but that's great because now we know what we can talk about next time. But here's the cool thing about what you just said, and so I'm hoping people even take this away with them, is that when you said just the awareness of, those other realities existing, I actually felt weight lift off my shoulder. I was thinking about something in particular, and then I was like, oh. And just that awareness alone took some of the weight off. And I think, so if people can really think about that, that's even something that they could take away from just this like little glimpse into that piece of it.
Yes, because for anyone listening right now, and every human has this right now, like you've got something that's been weighing on you, some burden or something that's been bothering you. And even if you don't at this moment, I mean, it comes up in life, right? It's part of the human experience. that thing can be resolved so much better, easier, faster by simply recognizing that in another reality, it's already healed. It's already resolved. And you're just getting in alignment with love and shifting the energy, shifting your own reality into that reality.
I love that.
I know I'm oversimplifying here. But
no,
you're
but
right.
You know what? It makes it much more powerful because we can go, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Because you're right. The awareness is the first thing, because most people don't even realize this is possible. We get stuck in our problems, our challenges, our traumas, and our dramas, and we don't realize that this is possible. Nobody's teaching this stuff on, television. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're learning about that through amazing telesummits like yours, like this one.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for bringing this in, because bringing that into our awareness allows us to, go, oh, okay, that exists somewhere else, which even just in that awareness makes you go, oh, well, I can then start to tap into acting differently, which, there's a whole thing wrapped up in that.
Right.
I want to quickly go back to DNA strands and activating them and all of that stuff, because you said that when we start to activate these dormant DNA strands, first of all, that's when we're starting to tap into limitlessness, and that they actually support us and our dreams and our life's purpose. Is there anything more you can say on that, just to help us gain even more clarity, just because it's something new? So I kind of want to finish up with that so that people's brains really get it.
Yeah, thank you for asking that, because I think you and I were totally linked up thinking about that. So, because here's the thing is, first of all, when I do DNA activations, I do them in circles with people. We only do one at a time, DNA, RNA. Why? Because if we were to try to do it all at once, first of all, our physical bodies wouldn't be able to handle it. It's too much power all at once. It's too much potency. We just fry out like if you stuck your finger in an electric socket. So we do a little at a time, and then we allow the body to acclimate and integrate it. And during the time of acclimation and integration, suddenly we start to have new ahas. We start to feel energetically lighter. We start to wake up to things that we just sort of always knew that we knew, but didn't realize we always knew them, because they're in the dormant part of us. So we do a little at a time. This is not an overnight process. You're not activated fully in one day. I don't know anyone who is fully activated, or else they would be completely flying and transforming, lead into gold, with the snap of a finger, and, doing some of those things that we sort of have been told are possible but don't believe. So it's sort of like we do a little at a time, and each time we do it, more and more gets revealed and becomes normal for us. So sometimes when I do interviews like this, I'll say things that seem so outrageous to a lot of people, and to me, they just seem par for the course. They're already activated within me. They're already in my knowing. But it's true for everybody. It's just that not everybody's activating as much. So it's a little at a time. We do a little at a time, then we let the body integrate it, we let the body acclimate to it, and then we do some more. And that's this process, because if you just think about the fact that right now you've been functioning your entire life with 2 strands, there's at least 10 more that need to get activated. You couldn't turn them all on all at once. You couldn't even be able to handle it. You just do a little. And every strand has tons of codons, DNA, RNA codons. So it's like uncountable numbers. So we do a little bit at a time. That's how I do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect, though, because what you just said just completely crystallized it. It was almost like, oh, okay, so it's all lying dormant within us, so it's just up to us to activate, and like you said, one bit at a time.
Yes, we're ready.
As we're ready, but the cool thing about that is you look at, okay, so we're dealing with 2 strands right now. Look how much is in that. So you're right. It's like, just a little bit at a time can probably cause complete transformation.
Well, here's the thing, too, is what I know from doing this work, and I will say, it starts to happen so fast.
Yeah.
That what I know from doing this work is that the people who I work with who are, coming to the circles, activating their dormant DNA, people who I know who are listening to this summit, who are working in this, who are healers, who are light workers of their, doing their work, these people are typically faster, smarter, more healthy. It's not to say we don't have our challenges. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that as you do this, your latent potential starts to become obvious. Like I'm sure this has happened to you before, where you have sat at a table with someone and you literally heard their thoughts before the words came out of their mouth, right? Yeah, that's part of it. Now, the average person with only 2 strands, that does not happen to them. It just doesn't. They're not telepathic yet. But as you activate it, you're able to do that. And so, each time we do more and more of our greatest potential, again, as we were saying, gets revealed. So, but it's a little bit at a time, and it is so transformational. Now, just one other thing about this is that Lightworkers who are doing this regularly, who are really working to assist in the awakening of planet Earth and the people on planet Earth and the, all the living beings here and the, just the consciousness, raising the consciousness, Lightworkers typically have 3.5, even as much as 4% of their DNA activated. That's still such a teeny little bit. What is in there? We don't know all of it. We have no idea.
Right.
It's amazing. It's very exciting.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. Now, what I'd love, can you share with us a couple of stories, maybe some transformations, just so that people can get an idea of what's possible for the people that, who are listening, who are working with what you're doing here. Do you have a couple of stories you could share?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So one of the great stories I have is one of my clients, she came to me, it was about a year ago. When she came to me, she literally was saying, I don't want to commit suicide, but I just don't see any point in living. She just was really that on her wit's end. She was like, she felt like she had really tried just everything. She felt like, and then what happened was her dog passed away, and that's why she came to me, really. It was more about what was going on with her dog and for healing around that. And she was really like, there's just no point. Well, within a year, and she works with me as a regular, client, and she definitely did some of my workshops and took some of the classes, but she is now fully functioning in the world. She is happier than she's ever been. She's practicing her own psychic intuitive gifts, tapping into that inner knowing. She's working as a healer. She's been certified as a Reiki master. She's practicing Reiki with animals and humans. She's also practicing other energy healing techniques. She's learned her Akashic records. She's living her life really joyfully. She's like, this is the best my life has ever been. Her day-to-day career, she changed out of her old job, and she increased her salary through this work, the manifestation process, by 60%.
Whoa.
60% increase. She went from 2 weeks of a vacation to 4 weeks. She went from being completely unacknowledged and unappreciated at work to being promoted and looked up to in her team as a leader. All of that happened within 1 short year. And I'm not even really telling you all of the transformation, because this was a woman who was harming herself, physically harming herself prior to coming to me. We're talking about things like cutting, self-mutilation. She was really not doing well. And within 1 year, her life, she was a wounded healer. That was her story. And within 1 year of activating her DNA and practicing this energy work and committing to her own self and choosing to get in alignment with love, her entire life has transformed. Her entire life.
Wow.
That's radical.
That's so powerful. It is.
And it doesn't have to take a year. That's the thing. We say a year, but all along the way, every step of the way, her life was feeling better and better. Every time we talk, she'd be like, wow, I'm feeling much happier. I'm feeling like I know how to navigate through this stuff. I'm feeling like I know how to deal with some of these challenges. She was working through family issues. She was working through past traumas and dramas. She was healing those. So it's not like it took a year. It's more like every step of the way, things were getting better and better and better. And
wow.
It's just a transformation. Now, there's really countless examples of that. I worked with a client who healed herself of muscular sclerosis. She came to me and she said, they say it's not possible. I said, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. And we worked together, and we did it's not just one thing. It's a holistic type of approach to healing on a mind, body, spirit, soul, energetic, auric, all aspects of us. But this kind of activating our dormant potential, it's in us. It works. It's real.
It's so exciting. I mean, and it's just an incredible thing to think of. As you said before, there's excitement in that. There's discovery in it. It's exciting to go, ooh, I wonder how much I'm capable of.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And, obviously, as we talked about, we already discovered 20 more conversations that we could have. There's so much more to get into with you and to learn from you. And you created a special offer for everyone who's listening to the call because of that. So to access this page for yourself, simply click on the special offer button that's on this page. And Lori, go for it. Let us know what we're going to find there.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that this package will never again be offered anywhere. Not like this. It's really loaded with stuff. It's 2 packages in and of itself. So if people are interested in this, now is the time. But the first product is actually an ebook and an e-workbook and 6 audio CDs. So that product in itself, it's called Psychic Intuitive Development. It's a 100-page ebook with the 6 audio MP3s, as well as a workbook. I don't know if it says that on the webpage, but there is a workbook in there for 7 simple steps to unlocking and developing your psychic potential. And that's both, obviously it's the MP3s and the ebook and the workbook. That's really, if you want to tap into your gifts, even if you're already using them, but you're not really sure how to really fine-tune them and develop them, this is really what that goes into. And I want to say, a lot of people don't like the word psychic. I haven't always, it's kind of been misabused and slandered, that word. But it really, when I refer to it, I'm really referring to your inner knowing and your ability to connect with the divine or the quantum field, if you prefer to call it, to extract information, lessons, learning, wisdom, healing, whatever you need. That's what I mean when I refer to the word psychic. So that's what we go through in that package. And that package, if you were to go to my website and buy it, it's $4.97. So alone, right there. Then the next product is Learn Basic Numerology. Now, we didn't even talk about this on the call. That could be a call of its own. But,
see?
Yeah, numbers are a universal language. And every number carries an energetic vibration. And that vibration could be translated into words that have meaning to us. So our birthdays, our names correlate to numbers. Our houses, our homes, our life path, our divine mission, our divine purpose, our soulmates, our soul's agenda, all of this stuff, what this year is going to be like for us, like everything is in the numbers. And numerology is one of the fastest, easiest things to learn, and it's really fun. And you can do it with anybody. So this, like everybody has a birthday and everybody has a name, and you can do it with animals and plants and locations, everything. You can get so much information from learning basic numerology. So this ebook, it's a 35-page ebook, and it also has the class, which is an MP3 class with it. That is valued at $99 on its own. You could literally become a numerologist. If you're looking for something to make some money, you can make a career out of this. It's so fast and so easy to learn numerology, and there's so much information in the numbers. So it's fun, and that's what that product is. Then the third one, cool. Yeah, it's really fun. I've actually had a lot of people write to me and say, I bought that package. I became a numerologist. I love it. I'm making a living at it. That's pretty cool.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah.
It's fail-proof because numbers are a universal language. They don't lie.
Right.
There's information in them, and it's really an unstudied science. Anyway, okay. So product 3 is what is a lightworker, and could I be one too? Right now, people are waking up all over. Lightworkers have been timed at certain points to wake up. And so more and more people who are lightworkers are waking up, and they don't really know it yet. They don't even know if they are when they don't even, some people don't know what lightworkers are, way showers. I think people in your audience know what it is, but a lot of them are literally waking up. They are lightworkers, and they don't necessarily know. So that's what this class is. It's a live class, a teleclass, and it's all about the role of lightworkers and how to know if you are one. And so that's valued at $50, that class. Now, product 4 is an actual manifestation and healing circle with DNA activations. And we go into all of this in way more detail about what is ascension and what is the dormant DNA in even more detail than we went into today. And we actually do a meditation with energy activations and DNA upgrades. So you learn about the DNA, and we learn more about changing the realities, jumping into new paradigms and timelines and so much of what we talked about today in much more depth. That's in that, and that's valued at $99. Then product 5 that is an actual manifestation and healing circle. It's also got live energy activations and DNA upgrades with a live meditation. So we go into the steps involved in the manifestation process and how you can use that. So we had referred to that earlier in the call when we were talking about how the speeding up of time really allows us to give more of the work to the universe to do. That's what this process is. So it talks about that. And it talks about the codes of consciousness and how we're unlocking them within us. And then product 6 is energy healing for the planet's animals. Now, this is one of my most favorite items. And it's really, I did this with a friend of mine who works with Archangel Metatron. We channeled information from Archangel Metatron, if you're familiar with the archangels, which I'm sure your telesummit people are. And Archangel Metatron really showed us what to do, helped us to create this workshop. It's not even a workshop. It's an energy healing. We also channeled through information from the animals about what they wanted for their new reality, what their choices were. And it was amazing. That was a global meditation and information for the animals. So the animal lovers, this is incredible healing on there and in the meditation. And it's not just for non-human animals. It's the healing for all animals, human as well. So, and the really great thing about this product too, which I have listed as valued at $75, it's valued at way more, because once you get that, you'll be referred to another website where you can go and get thousands and thousands of dollars worth of free downloads for energy activations. And these energy activations don't require any participation in your part. They are literally activated. They get downloaded to your computer or your phone, your iPod, whatever, and they literally start activating energy for like safe home, safe environment, safe workspace, safe community. Like, it's so much more than that. So that's all in there. That's product 6. Then product 7 is Living in the Overflow. That's a 50-minute teleclass that I did. It's an MP3, and it's really just about how to help people break out of lack and limitation and playing small, which is kind of what we were talking about before, and just start really allowing themselves to really live their best life ever, letting the overflow of all the greatness of life come into their experience. So it's really about that. And that is valued at $50. And then product 8 is actual theta healing. That's one of the modalities I use. So I practice theta healing, and it's a theta healing 50-minute MP3 class where I basically had people from my community just tell me what they wanted healing on most. What are the most important things for people that they want healing on? So we cover topics like love and money and health and wealth, success, peace and harmony, happiness, that kind of stuff. That's what that is. And then product 9 is my favorite metaphysical prayers for lightworkers. It's a mini ebook. That prayer book, really, I'm not kidding. It's a really great prayer book. It's not like, your basic prayers. It's more like Lightworker prayers. One of them is how to open your records, your Akashic records, if you know what those are. I mean, this is worth way more than $10, actually, except for that it's just a little ebook of prayers. But one of them has money. One of them has to, attracting money. I use it every day, Kristen. And every time I say the prayer, unexpected joyful money comes to me. And I swear, I'm not kidding. Same thing with some of the other ones, manifesting your soulmate and connecting with Archangel Metatron to assist you in the healing and ascension process. There's ascension prayers. There's all these great Lightworker prayers are in there. Animal prayers for the animals. So I love that product. I mean, I just put together all these favorite prayers. And then product 10 is literally $100. I call it Ethel's Gold. And you can use it towards any of my live workshops or seminars or classes worth $100 or more. So that's literally gold, Ethel's Gold, $100. And then product 10 is just a bonus. It's a juicy living ebook. It's full of lots of inspirational quotes to help inspire us. Because I know when I very first started doing this work, really in the beginning, and I didn't know anything, the first thing I used to do was post inspiration for myself around the room on mirrors and on walls, little quotes, and they really helped me. They were like my first step. So that's why I put that in there. That's a Juicy Living ebook. And that's the whole package. Wow. A lot of stuff in there. I know. It takes like a long time just to explain all the items. Sorry, that package is worth over $1,000. It's like $1,050, I think, is the amount, and you save basically $950 approximately. It's a 90% discount through your telesummit. So,
see, that's and I love that you did that and put this together special for us, because it's absolutely incredible. Now, everyone, you know why I said please go to the link and check it out, because it's incredible and it's so much. Let me ask you this, Lori. When people start working with this, what are some of the things that they could expect to start experiencing and feeling, right away?
Okay. Well, one of the first things that happens when you do a DNA activation, and those calls have them. That's live energy. It will work for the people who purchase this product. The DNA activations immediately. I've had people who participate in the circles who say, I was up all night writing the book that I've been trying to write for 10 years and haven't been able to.
Whoa.
I literally had somebody tell me that. I had somebody tell me from doing the circles that when she got into the circle, she was broke. Her sister had just passed away. She was really not feeling well. She used her last, I didn't know this when she got in the circle. I had never met her before. She used her last dollars to get into the circle, and she practiced everything on the circle and did the DNA activations. Within 3 weeks, she had an offer for $85,000 a year for a new job that she accepted and absolutely loves and is working in now. So shifts like that can happen very quickly. And notice, what do they notice? They notice more energy. They notice they start to feel happier. They notice they start to feel physically lighter. They notice they're more intuitive. They notice they feel healthier. They notice subtle things and not so subtle things. Sometimes they get the best night of sleep they've ever had in their entire life. Some people say, I've never been able to sleep. And after I have a friend, she did the circle. She's a channeler. She channels a group of non-physical beings, and she always has so much energy running through her body she can never sleep. She did the manifestation and healing circle with the DNA activations, and she was able to sleep for a full night for the first time in years, she said. So now she uses it to help her go to sleep. So this kind of stuff is what people will notice, and this and more. I mean, let me know what you experience, because
right.
the list is endless. It's more like it's getting to what's most important to you in your unique life.
And I love that. I think that's such a cool aspect to it, right? That it's specific to what is the thing that you're needing. So I love that. Okay. Everyone, if you haven't yet, just click on the special offer button on this page to see for yourself what an amazing package this is. You'll be glad you did. Lori, you've been fantastic. I just love your energy. I love how you present this stuff. It feels, there's such an authenticity to it. There's such a power to it. Some of it is, if other people presented it, it might seem, I don't know, too out there, but there's such a grounded way that you present it that it makes it, it really, you're able to go, okay, yeah, no, I get that. It makes complete sense. And thank you for that, because this is such powerful stuff, and it's such empowering stuff that we need to be able to get that. So we need people like you presenting it in a way that we can get it. So thank you so much for everything you brought to the call. I just think you're absolutely fantastic.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Kristen. I really love you. I think you're a fabulous, fabulous host. I love your teleseminar. I love the Manifest Everything Now group. Your whole team, they're fabulous to work with. They're just really on the ball. I'm not kidding. I absolutely love you guys, and I'm so grateful that you gave me this opportunity to share. I love to share this stuff, so it's a wonderful opportunity for me to be of service and make a contribution. So thanks for having me.
Of course. And actually, what I'd love to do is have you, as you send us off now, what would you like us to have sort of resonating in our ears as we leave you today?
Oh my God, this one last thing I would say is just go out and be whatever it is you choose to be. So if what you choose to be the energy, the embodiment of the energy you choose to be. I'll use the love one as a great example, because that's really where I started when I was doing this. I just started saying, how can I be the love? How would love behave? How would love act right now? What would love do in this situation? What would love think? And you could substitute the word love for kindness, for compassion, for forgiveness. just go out and be that, exemplify that in all your life and all your reality, and watch how everything shifts as you become that thing.
Beautiful. So powerful. So I'm not going to muddy that with anything else. I am just going to say thank you again to you, Lori. Thank you, everyone listening. You are all just magnificent, and I am thrilled to be able to be here spending this time with you. And until the next time, keep manifesting. Bye-bye, everyone.